Hi guys, welcome back to At Home with Holly. My name's Holly. I'm so glad that you're here with me today. So it's a snowy one. It's a snowy one. So today I'm going to do some inside stuff. So the first thing I need to do is I have got to restock my waffles for my freezer because Olivia eats them several mornings a week and it's nice to have them ready. You can just pull them out and throw them in the microwave for 30 seconds and makes a quick school day breakfast. And then I have two fun recipes with things that I have printed out a long time ago and I was waiting for a snowy or rainy day to try them. So the first one's going to be some apple pie bars because I have that apple pie filling that I canned up and I'm just looking for more creative ways to use it besides um, like putting it on waffles and stuff. So I'm going to make some quick apple pie bars. I'll link the recipes too. You know those cookies in the grocery store in the clear container? They're like sugar cookies with the frosting on them and sprinkles. My daughter loves those, and I'm always looking to try to um, reduce the amount of things that have all the chemicals in it from the grocery store and stuff. So we're going to try to make a knockoff version of that from scratch here today. So I have the recipe for the cookies, the recipe for the apple pie bars, and then my recipe that I use all the time for waffles, just the basic waffle recipe. So first things first, we're going to make the waffles so they can cool and I can get them in freezer bags and put them in the freezer. And then we will get to work on the apple pie bars and the cookies. I'm so glad that you're here. Let's get going. For the waffles, I need flour, sugar, baking powder, salt, egg, milk, vanilla, and melted butter. Microwave safe bowl, put a couple tablespoons of butter in it. I grabbed some butter out of my freezer. That's where I keep my butter. But I do have some that has been sitting on the counter, so it's room temperature. So I'm going to go ahead and add that to the bowl and get that in the microwave. That way we're ready for the next ingredient. Flour, sugar, baking powder. All right, so we have our melted butter. To this, we're going to add a tablespoon of sugar, add a splash of vanilla, okay, the only other thing I need to add to this is an egg. That's not true. I need to add the milk. We're going to add 1 cup of milk. One egg, 1 cup of flour, and then we're going to do 2 teaspoons of baking powder. All right, we're going to let this sit while our waffle maker heats up. Okay, I actually decided that this is going to take a while for me to be doing batches. It's probably going to take about 3 or 4 batches. So in the meantime, I'm going to get our shortbread crust started for our apple pie bars. That way that can be beating in the mixer because the eggs and the butter and the sugar need to be mixing together for a little bit to cream them together. So I'm going to get the mixer out and put the butter and the sugar in that so that it's mixing while I'm making these waffles. All right, into my mixing bowl, I'm going to add 1/2 cup of sugar. It's a 1/4 cup scoop. 1/2 cup of sugar and 1/2 cup of butter. This whole stick this is a double stick, so twice as wide. So I'm going to use half of this, and that should be 1/2 cup of butter. We'll get this in the mixer. Helps if you put the paddle on. All right, I decided that I was going to make a double batch because I've already got everything out. Might as well. So I just added another round of ingredients to my bowl. Got it all mixed up. In the meantime, this is mixed together. So we've got the half a cup of butter and half a cup of sugar in there. We're going to add 2 eggs. Get that mixing. All right, we're going to mix in 1.5 cups of flour and half a teaspoon of salt. All right, we're going to put this in the pan and get making some more waffles. Now this recipe calls for a 9x9 pan. I only had 8x8s, and then I have these little like 5x, I forget what they are, but they're like smaller pans, and I always use them as the equivalent of the 9x9. So we'll get our shortbread crust in the bottom. All right, so our last batch of waffles is ready to come out. Put these on the cooling rack. And let those cool completely before we get them in a freezer bag and put them in the freezer. Scoot that to the side so it'll cool, and we'll get back to our apple pie bars. So the next thing our recipe says, let's see, press with your fingertips in an even layer. Done. Let's see, spread the pie filling over the crust. So we have our apple pie filling we made 2 falls ago. Go ahead and pour this right on top. So I am an apple pie fan, but the part that I really like is like on a Dutch apple pie. I love the brown sugar bits, the streusel topping. So I think that's probably why I was drawn to this recipe, because it had the streusel topping. So we're going to do 1/4 cup of flour, 1/4 cup of brown sugar. Yum. Do 1/4 cup of butter, and we'll get that mixed up and spread over the top. I've got my oven preheated to 325. So we'll get some butter in here. I don't know if that's going to be enough. Might have to make more of that. Okay, that felt stingy to me. We're going to make some more streusel. Yeah, this feels better. Yep, that feels right. Let me wash my hands. All right, so this says to put this in the oven for 35 minutes until done, but if using a glass pan, check after 25 minutes. Okay, we will get this in there. So we were able to get all of these waffles made and the apple pie bars in the oven. So I'm going to set these to the side to cool, to continue cooling, and then we will start on our cookies. This is going to be so good. Okay, I brought our mixer over here, rinsed off the bowl and the beater, and I'm going to grab some ingredients. So I'll link this recipe down below, but we are doing a half batch because this makes 32 cookies. And the only person in my house that's going to be eating these is Olivia. So I don't need 32 cookies. So I figured I'll do the half batch. So I'll link the recipe, but just know that the measurements that I'm using are half. So I'm going to get, let's see, we need to cream the butter and powdered sugar until fluffy, and then beat in the eggs, oil, and extracts. So we need to have the butter and powdered sugar going in the mixer, and then I will put in a bowl the eggs, oil, and the extracts in one bowl, and then I will add all the dry ingredients in the other bowl. So let's get these 3 bowls going. Half a cup of butter. So to my fluffy butter and powdered sugar mixture, I went ahead and added in the wet ingredients mixture that we had made, and I let that go ahead mix until it was well combined and fluffy. And then I took the dry ingredients that we had and I added that until just combined because I didn't want to overmix it. And then I turned it off and did the rest of it by hand. It smells so good. Just that little bit of almond extract smells so good. Let me grab some cookie sheets. We'll get these divided up, flattened, and put onto the parchment paper on the cookie sheets, and we'll have them ready to go for once the apple pie bars come out of the oven. We've got just a couple more minutes on the apple pie bars, and our waffles are completely cool and our cookies are ready to go in. So while we're waiting, I'm going to label and put away these waffles. And these are all set to go in the freezer. So we're just waiting just a few more minutes on our apple pie filling, and then we can also make our frosting while the cookies are in the oven. For the frosting, we're going to do 3/4 of a stick of butter, 2 1/4 cup of powdered sugar, half a teaspoon of vanilla, and then optional is food coloring. I've got some red and blue. We'll try to see if we can make purple. I've found that these food colorings, the ones that don't have artificial dyes in them, they're not as bright. So keep that in mind if you're going to use these, but I do like the ingredients a little better than some of the other ones. 2 tablespoons of milk. And we'll add more if we need it. Timer went off. These look pretty good. So we'll take them out, let them cool, put the cookies in. Cookies are going in. Okay, timer went off. And they don't look glossy anymore. So that's what we're looking for. So these are going to come out and sit on their baking sheets for 2 to 3 minutes, and then we'll put them on the cooling rack to keep cooling. All right, so we got everything cooling. We got our cookies cooling, apple pie bars cooling. We're going to slide these off onto some wire cooling racks, let them cool the rest of the way. And then we've got our frosting ready to go. We've got our yummy buttercream icing. Let's get these frosted. Okay, so let's also, this should be completely cool before you cut into it, but I'm just going to cut out a little piece so I can taste and see if I actually made this correctly or if it was a fail, because sometimes they're fails. Ooh, it's not all the way cool yet, but you can see all the layers. Yum. Let me get a plate. Let's try the apple pie bar. That's good. That's good. That's really good. I know you're supposed to wait for it to be cool, but warm apple pie. That's really good. Okay, let's try the cookie. I'll take a bite of this cookie. Looks great. I really like that. That's really good too. The frosting is just right. The cookie's really soft. That's a winner. That's a winner. Okay, I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today on the snowy day while we did our knockoff of the store brand cookies, and we did our apple pie bars, and we made some more waffles for the freezer. I want to thank you guys so much for the likes and the comments and the shares. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. There'll be a whole lot more cooking and growing and chickens and preserving and fun things to do. So can't wait to see you guys next time. Thanks so much. Bye, my friend.